Okay, so here it finally is, another instalment of the LongBox history, where you have a little nosy into all my long boxes, alphabetically. And here it is, the Punisher special. You know what, just before I start showing you them, I seriously thought I had way more Punisher than I actually have. Now, I'm not saying that I haven't got a lot, because I have. But it's the earlier stuff. I thought I had loads more earlier stuff. But then I remembered, and I'll quickly show these straight away. The reason why I think I've read a lot of Punisher is because of these series. The Marvel Essential, where they reprint all the issues of a character in one volume, but it's printed in black and white, which is a bit of a shame, but at least you still get to read the story. So you've got Essential Volume 1, and this collected all the Punisher's kind of early appearances in other titles, really. So you have him in Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America, and Daredevil. Then there's the Essential Collection Volume 2, which collected Punisher 1 to 20 with Annual 1. And that Daredevil crossover we've all been talking about of late, issue 257. And then finally, because they haven't brought another one out yet, is volume 3, which continues and collects Punisher 21 to 40 with Punisher Annual 2 and 3. So yeah, that's why I think I've read a lot more Punisher than I thought I actually had. Saying that, this is like the earlier stuff. These are like the limited editions, not limited edition, like limited series stuff to begin with. So let's just adjust that camera just a little bit. And here we go. So we've got the giant sized issue of the Punisher, number 50. And the giant size Punisher issue 100. Anybody who watched all our top 10 comics of all time videos that we did last year, I have to say this almost made it onto my top 10 comics of all time. It's a great story where Microchip has kind of imprisoned Frank in this room that's he's not meant to be able to get out of, and it's, you know, Punisher has gone over the edge of the edge of the edge, because he just seemed to cross many lines. But it was just a great issue. But as you will see a bit later on, my favourite Punisher issue of all time had to take precedent. Don't know if you can probably see that, but it's got, no, you're not going to, but there is kind of an etched picture of Frank in there as well, and the Punisher skull on a nice silvery shiny cover. And the annual super-sized annual Punisher, the Evolutionary War, issue 1. The Atlantis Attacks crossover, so Punisher had a go in that with his Marvel annual from number 2, 1989. Haven't got issue annual 3 yet, but there's annual 4 with part 2 of the Von Strucker Gambit, and we've got Daredevil and Captain America on there as well. Annual number 5, 1992. Part 1 of the System Bites. Then we went on, let's see, what year is this? It's 1991. Punisher Summer Special, 48 pages, no ads. A variety of stories from different writers and different artists, but all pure Frank Castle goodness. So you got Punisher Summer Special 2, number 3. And another Back to School special, another 64 page of just lots of different kind of Punisher stories, again different writers, different artists. Back to School special 2, this was from 1993. A holiday special, don't know if you can really see that, but it's another shiny cover. Christmas special double-sized issue from 1992. There's issue 2. Then we've got a 2-issue miniseries which has got the origin of Microchip. He was the guy, the kind of brains, I guess, behind the Punisher. He was into all his high tech, got all his weapons, customized everything for him. So that's part 1 and part 2. Then obviously there's been all sorts of different type of versions of Punisher, and I think this is what the next set are. Marvel did a kind of manga-verse kind of limited series of all their characters, and obviously Punisher was one. She's turned into kind of like a samurai geisha girl. I like the way the bow on the back has been knotted so it looks like the skull, just to, you know, keep with the dress of Punisher. Then we've got Punisher 2099, and the Punisher is now a lady. It was from the Marvel Knights series, where they again went into the future and showed all various characters from that year. Not quite sure why I picked this up. It's the Punisher, the official movie adaptation, with Tom Jane. Not as good as the most recent one, Punisher War Journal, but you know, it was obviously a lot better than the Dolph Lundgren one. So we've got number 1, number 2, and number 3. From the Max series, they did a lot of these, The End, which is like the final kind of days of their Marvel characters, and this one was the Punisher, a great issue. Kind of the Punisher still going at it at the end of the world that's been completely bombed and radiated, etc. And this was the one that made it into my top 10 comics of all time, and if you go back to that video you will find out why. This is just a fantastic issue, and obviously Garth Ennis writes a lot of the Punisher, and he just, particularly for me, excelled in this issue. It was just fantastic. Punisher Red Christmas. So there are kind of like the odds and ends kind of issues. We kind of jumped to August 2001. Let me see, there's a key, yeah. And the Punisher made it to the Marvel Knights imprint. Again, written by Garth Ennis, art by Steve Dillon for the most part through this run. It lasted 37 issues. It was kind of a goofy title, this. I mean, obviously it's got its violent, mature content, but it kind of went from the ridiculous to just the serious kind of Punisher style that we were all kind of used to, the storylines. And the covers really didn't kind of match a lot of the time what was inside. But still a great series. I think it was, what's his name? Was it Tim or Tom? Bradstreet. Tim Bradstreet did a lot of these Punisher covers. Number 7. Right. So the thing with Punisher, he's had a lot of kind of series runs, but never something that's kind of like kept ongoing and ongoing, kind of like a Spider-Man or a Fantastic Four or anything like that. They just kind of kept stopping and starting the character, and not so much retconning him, but you know, different kind of takes, whether they be kind of, like I said, really silly stories, or you know, really kind of ultra-violent Max series that you'll see. Obviously, when you're in the kind of Marvel universe, you know, you're going to have a few people pop up. Obviously, Wolverine there. Punisher really, I mean, from the last decade at least, he didn't really until very recently pop back up into the regular Marvel universe, and he kind of existed on his own, and it was very rare until lately that you saw him kind of get involved in kind of the regular storylines and the crossovers that happened within the whole of the Marvel universe. So these were very, very separate to what was going on all around. 26. Looks like a little pop up there from Elektra. The 30. Very full, showering down with bullets. That's what happens when you put Frank Castle on a cover with a gun. And finally, for the Marvel Knights series, for that run anyway, issue 37. Hope you're still hanging in on there, because there are still more Punisher goodies to come. It finished in February 2003, but we didn't really have to wait that long for the next series, and that was the Punisher Max series. Again, it's Garth Ennis, and well, he really got to let rip, given it's a Max comic, and you know, you can do a lot more of the kind of like explicit stuff, I guess. Again, this was kind of like the serious Punisher, dealing with, you know, as usual, the kind of street level mafia, just like your regular street crime, drug lords, etc. And I think generally he does seem to fit better when he's not involved in the Marvel universe. Though, you know, he can be fun in it, as you will see later on. I mean, as great as these kind of covers are, I'm not excited as much as the more traditional kind of comic book style, this kind of photorealistic art, unless it's done really, really, really good. For me, it just kind of falls a little bit flat. We are in a comic book after all, and I much prefer the comic booky art type of art. Not that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's obviously a lot of work that goes into these covers. (22), 23, 24. Unfortunately, I haven't got the full run of these, and it stops very shortly with issue 27. Unfortunately, that could have been the year that I had to stop collecting comics for a while. Almost done. I hope you're all hanging in there. I know this is a long one, but you know, it's the Punisher. He deserves it. So this is kind of Punisher War Journal. Came out in January 2007. This is the Matt Fraction run. And this is where they threw him back into the big Marvel U. And it kicked off with Civil War. So, issue 1. Issue 2. So you had him going up against some big Marvel characters, like Captain America. And really put him in kind of almost centre stage, because, you know, I say he's just a normal guy. You know, he hasn't got any superpowers, but he does have this amazing arsenal of weaponry and military skill. Got involved in the initiative. Really did like this run with Matt Fraction. He this Punisher in the Captain America uniform, which was, I think, quite a surprise for a lot of people, given that he's pretty much the antithesis of what Captain America stands for. But it was fun to see him in a different costume as such. But, you know, we always go back to what we know best, their skull head. Like I said, this was the series that he just got involved in practically every single kind of crossover that was going on at the time. So he got involved in the World War Hulk, Spidey in Black and the Rhino there. I think that's Craven, isn't it? Number 17. Yeah, Jigsaw, one of his recurring characters. Number 20. Domino there. 21. Really nice kind of painted cover there. Move them out of the way. Issue 22. 23. 24. There he is, getting involved in the Secret Invasion. 25. 26. And that was actually the final issue of this run. And he had an annual at the end. I mean, at this point, I was just getting sick and tired of them stopping and starting this this title. So until the most recent one, I won't show those because you see them every month in my reviews. I stopped getting them in single issues. So when Punisher came along again, I started buying them in trade. So you've got the Punisher in the Dark Reign crossover. There we have the classic kind of homage to Amazing Spider-Man 129. But instead of Spidey in the crosshairs, you've got Norman Osborn. And the second volume graphic novel. And then Punisher at the Frankencastle, the oversized luxury hardback edition, which was great. And just finally something random at the end. I don't know if I've shown this before. It's kind of an oversized Punisher by Mike Barron. Just show that. So got some, and that's basically it for Punisher. Hope you enjoyed that. There'll be a very, very small P coming next, because obviously the most P's I've got are the Punisher. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Take care, bye bye.